Before we begin, if our content has ever helped you feel a little less alone, drop a comment below. Tell us how your day is going. Honestly, every topic we cover comes straight from your requests. Subscribe for more. Most people picture abuse as something you can see. A raised voice, a slammed door, a bruise. But what if the most damaging kind of abuse leaves no visible mark at all? What if, instead of hurting your body, it slowly rewires your mind? Today, we're talking about mental, psychological, and emotional abuse. What they actually are, how they quietly shape who you become, and why understanding them might be one of the most important things you ever do for yourself. Mental abuse targets the way you think. It doesn't announce itself. It arrives in constant criticism, dressed up as honesty, being told you're overreacting again and again, having your memories rewritten until you genuinely aren't sure what really happened. You don't need the other person to say it anymore. You say it yourself. Their voice becomes yours. Psychological abuse targets your grip on reality. Did that actually happen? Am I being too sensitive? Maybe I'm the problem. Emotional withdrawal, used as punishment. Being pulled in, then shut out. Being made to feel responsible for another person's happiness, anger, or pain. That uncertainty is not an accident, it's the point. Because a person who doubts themselves is a person who stays. Emotional abuse targets your right to feel, love withheld until you behave a certain way. Your vulnerability, mocked, dismissed, turned against you when you were at your most open. Being made to feel like a burden simply for having needs. Not because you healed, but because silence felt safer than rejection. These three forms of abuse share one outcome. They disconnect you from yourself. They replace self-trust with self-doubt. They blur boundaries until you stop knowing where you end and someone else's expectations begin. They teach you to survive instead of exist, to manage instead of truly live. Abuse rarely comes from strangers. It often comes wrapped in love, in the voice of someone you never wanted to see clearly. Unaddressed patterns don't disappear with time. They adapt. They show up as a reflexive fear of conflict, even when conflict is healthy. As emotional shutdown in moments that should feel safe. As relationships that somehow feel familiar in all the wrong ways. Pain that hasn't been processed tends to find ways to continue into how we parent, how we love, how we treat ourselves. When abuse is part of your story, the damage lives in the way you rest or can't. In the guilt, that follows doing something just for you. In the deep, persistent feeling that you are somehow too much and yet never quite enough. Healing means learning that your feelings are valid without needing to be explained. That your needs are real, that you don't need anyone's permission to take up space. Understanding abuse is not about building a case. It's not about assigning villains. It's about clarity, and clarity changes everything. Naming what happened is how you stop being defined by it. Recognizing a pattern is how you break it. Choosing healthier relationships with others and with yourself is not betrayal, it's growth. Healing doesn't ask you to prove the past, it asks you to decide the future. If something in this video felt familiar, that recognition is not a wound reopening. That's your awareness waking up. And awareness is where everything begins. If you'd like us to go deeper, let us know in the comments. We read them, we listen. If you'd like to explore how to recognize these patterns early, how healing begins after emotional abuse, or how to stop these cycles from carrying forward into your relationships, tell us below. Subscribe to stay connected. More conversations like this are coming. You're worth this. Thank you for watching.